Okay, so going to run through quickly how I put together what you saw on the last slide. So first thing, obviously going to open up the tracker system, which you can download from the links that I've provided you with. And then I just need to drop in my video. So I've got that video, I've got a video here in my downloads, side view. Just okay this, and let's just full screen it so we get a bit of a better view. Okay, so if you remember, first things that we need to do is first of all work out where the action is and what it is that we are going to need to be tracking. We don't want to track lots of stationary movement, so we can do that just by playing around with scroll bar down the bottom here and looking at how much do we actually need to be paying attention to. So the initiation of movement is right there. You see the hips just start to break, so I can drag my cursor down to a little black cursor down the bottom, which then I can use my button over here on the right hand side to go through frame by frame, and you can see then we've only got a couple of frames there maybe that don't actually have any movement, which is fine. We can bring the end cursor in as well if we want to, just to end the sequencer and the whole movement, which I'm just going to put around there. The ending isn't overly important. Okay, so we've kind of trimmed our video, so now I'm going to add in my axes just so that the system can plot the coordinates of positions of things. I'm going to put it down on the bottom of my foot here because I know there's going to be no movement below that, and my left hand, my vertical axis, just far enough away so that we don't get any kind of movement across there, because I'm not overly interested in positive and negative values at the moment. The other thing, if you remember, we needed to do was tell the system how big things are in this piece of footage. So I'm just going to go to create and a calibration tool, and I'm going to go with a calibration stick. And what I'm going to measure is my hip down to my ankle, because I've measured that and given you the information that that is 89 centimeters. So if I just hold down the shift button and click on the center of my hip, and then I click down onto, still holding the shift button down, hold down on the onto my ankle, and I'm just going to pull that out into a straight line because that's not actually measuring in a straight line, measured on diagonal, which would make it a little bit longer. And then by clicking in here, I can just edit that to, it's measured in meters, so 0.89 as in 89 centimeters. Up here on the left hand side then shows my calibration stick. If I right click, it gives me a bunch of options. I can change colour or do whatever. I'm just going to make that invisible by unchecking the tick box on visible, and then it just tucks it out of the way nicely. Okay, so excuse me. So I said that I identified or used 5 different masses. So I used the end of my toe. You can see a little bit of blue tape. That pink X there on my ankle and my knee and my hip, and I'm just going to use the center of my ear as my 5-point masses. So I've got a line coming down from my torso, line through my femur, line through my lower leg, and then a line across my foot, which gives me my joint angles of hip, knee and ankle down the bottom. So I'm just going to do a quick few frames just to show you how I did this. So I am going to first of all click on track, new, and I'm going to select point mass, and we'll start off by using the toe. So I'm going to hold down control and shift, and I get this little target that comes up, and I'm going to click right on the end of my toe, and over here on the right hand side you get this picture here, which is our template. So it's taken a photo of that point, and that's what it's going to search for each time we enter a new one. I'm just going to redo that a second, just because it hasn't given me the option to expand the picture. I'll show you what I mean. So Control and Shift, sorry, track, new, point mass, Control and Shift on the toe, and I should have this little circle with a tiny little red box in the corner. If I just zoom in on that, if I drag the box out, it gives me a bigger or smaller picture, so you can see that the photo, if you like, that it's taken becomes bigger or smaller. So up here now I've got a template and a match, and the dotted area is where it's going to look for that image every time I search a new frame. So if I just go and click search next, it says frame 99. It's the writing's in green saying that it's found the match, which is exactly the same because obviously the toe hasn't moved. And if I just click through these pretty quickly, I'll go through a few frames, you'll see that the frame number increases. It's staying green because there's not really a lot of movement going on. There's a tiny bit of movement where I'm lifting the toe off of the platform. So we just go search, 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 search. I just want to try and get to an example where we might lose the toe. So still tracking fairly well. In fact, you see it's come out in front here, it's moved away from where it should be. So what you can do is keep an eye on these things, and if they move away from where they should be, we can just drag the last frame back to the right position. And we can just search and search and search. See how number 37 has jumped out and is looking over here for some reason. Yeah, we can take that back if we need to. If it shows a point where it's not tracking, you can just hold down the Shift button and manually click the point that you want to track. So watch, if I hold down the Shift button, everything disappears. It allows me to see what it is that I want to track. Shift, track, Shift, track. So it will auto track, but if you're not happy with the auto track, you can manually go through that same process. So I'm just going to close that for a second. Take the video back to the beginning, and I'm going to create another point mass. And again, I'll do this really quickly, so excuse me a second. So Control and Shift, take a picture of what I want to track, expand that image so it's a little bit clearer, move it around if you need to. You can make the search area bigger if you want to. And then I'm just going to go over here in this box, I'm just going to go search next, search, 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 search. Again, you'll see the frame numbers increasing. And not a lot happening at the moment because there's no movement. And then you see as the knee starts to drop and the hips start to drop, we start to get a little bit more ankle movement going on. Let's just get to the point where we start to go into a bit of plantar flexion. In fact, we don't need to go that far, we'll just hold it there for a second. So again, back to the beginning, I'm then going to make a track on the knee, and that gives me 3 points then. So again, Control and Shift, make sure we've got a nice template picture to work from, and a nice search area. And again, let's just go through a bunch of frames just so we get a little bit of movement. And that's tracking really quite nicely because it's a nice clear image. So we'll leave it there for a second. That should give us enough to just demonstrate the protractor. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to go into track, new, measuring tool. Yeah, so I'm going to select the protractor, which is then going to plot it on the screen here. So this dotted line is the base. I'm just going to pop that there. That bit is the vertex, and this bit is the arm, which I'm going to pop up onto the knee. Now I can do that manually, but what we can also do, what we need to do, is click onto the protractor, and I'm going to attach the points, so the vertex, the arm, and the base. I'm going to attach them to the point masses that I've already identified. So the vertex is the center part, that's the actual angle part. So I'm going to attach that to my ankle, which is the light sky blue, which is mass B. The arm, which is this bit, is attached to my knee, which is this purpley pinky colour, so I'm going to attach that to mass C. And the base is this dotted green line, which is attached to my toe, which must be the red one. Okay, so if I just close that, so those points are now attached to my ankle, my knee, and my toe. And then if I replay the image, what we should see is that this value here, just zoom in a second, this value of 102 degrees as a start point will change, should change, fingers crossed. It changes with my movement. Now it's jumping around a little bit all over the place there because I haven't gone through the full system for the full number of frames, but that just gives you an idea of how I put together the last example in the slide before. I could then go on to do another protractor from the ankle, knee, and hip, which will give me knee angle. I could also do one from the knee, hip to my ear, which will then give me an idea of hip angle. Okay, please check the next slide for a little bit of further information.